So anyway, that to me is the only code. Is again the majority of the people here are Japanese, and we're not on their thing. They won't let us in. So that's why we're best friends. All of a sudden.
Okay. You're talking about white
Gaijin
people.
code.
Okay, you're talking about like white
Gaijin.
American people, or white European
African, French.
Okay.
And any other person.
Okay, so because the Japanese won't, you can't enter in their society or be a member of their society. So then we're the people on the outside.
Yeah.
Become one group.
And that's
by
good
default.
To the Gaijin. That's good because it's the one time we really can't look at each other and see that we're similar. So why people
we can't or we can?
We can.
Okay.
Because now we all not a common enemy, but we're all ousted by the same type of people, Japanese
by
people,
the majority,
which is completely different from us. Yeah. And now that's why we're brothers and all that. See, why did you come to Japan? Why did you come to Japan? Where are you from? Right. We can all friendly now because you're out of your country and I'm out of my country, and we're not linked to that no more. And now we're all one people. We're the ones all being discriminated against. The white people get real friendly in Japan. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't say hi to you on the street in the States at all.
Right. Or Australia or UK.
But when you come over here, now it's all like, well, we're all in the same thing. White people are real friendly at church, I bet.
Yeah,
because when they walk into a black church or you walk into a white church, hey, brother. Like all that. But, I mean, that's because we're all under that one. We're all Christian here for this one code. But that is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to stay away from the Gaijin thing too much, because I think we talked about that a little bit. But let's just talk about not even so much foreigners, but my thing as far as modern Japan Decoded is the book is written for black people in Japan. Mm-hmm. And I say that because I think that black people, no matter where black people are, I think we always have a very specific challenge that no one else faces, because we are at the bottom of the socioeconomic pyramid across the board, no matter where you go. Okay. Even in the blackest of black countries.
Right.
You find some kind of colonizer who's not black, who's exploiting. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's a common denominator we cannot run from. So if that's wrong, show me the place.
Okay.
When I went to Jamaica, I went to countries, I was very, very disappointed when I got there to find, I'm thinking these are black countries. And then you find, who's this white dude on TV? Who's he?
Yeah, and he's the owner.
Or even Dominican Republic, all the Jesus statues and the Mary statues.
Brazil's like that too, right?
Yeah, and I was just like, they're all over the place, man. I was like, these people don't even, I mean, they're Dominican people, especially Caribbean people, they range from the whitest of white to the blackest of black. But the common general person is clearly of color. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they don't have the kinkiest of hair, but let's just keep it 100. I mean, when I'm there, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you don't even look like y'all, but I was like, how is that any different than black people worshiping a white Jesus? So it was funny, but it made me really, really introspective and just let me just watch this. But I guess all of that is relative, but I just want to introduce the idea, and maybe we'll go deeper in this in another video or not. I don't want to go too deep, but just the idea of black people being on code in Japan. And the reason I say that, why is that different than any other country? Why Japan? Well, because I think that the circumstances for black people to come to Japan or to be in Japan is different than any other place I've been. Because, I said, black people are at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder across the board around the world, but that's not true in Japan.
This is true.
Because most black people come here with you have to get a visa. And Japanese don't give a visa unless you're somebody that they deem is going to be able to contribute to their society. It's all about them. That's their code. So most of the black people I meet, they got 4-year college degrees. Yep. They have some kind of skill. They came here. They have a job.
Right.
And they don't need rent money. There's no beg. You don't see that.
Yeah.
And so everybody's at a certain education level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And have a certain competence, at least in one field. So that already changes everything.
Right. You have to have a certain amount of money in your account before you even come over.
Right.
You gotta have a certain qualification. You gotta graduate from a college. All that.
Right.
All that. You're not gonna come over here and be poor, motherfucker. That's what they're saying. Like, yeah.
And then on top of it, then you factor into the fact that, I mean, I've never heard of the cops beating up a black dude in Japan.
Never. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've heard of guys getting frisked overly, too much. Shout out to my man Alvin, the DJ. He put me on to some stuff that I didn't know. I didn't put that video up yet, but he really breaks down how he gets harassed in Tokyo all the time.
I heard Tokyo cops is way different.
But Tokyo, I think, is at a different level. They're the capital. They got the highest influx of foreigners, including black folks. But we're not even talking about that right now. But I'm just saying. But even in his case, I asked him. He didn't get beat up, and he acted out a couple times, and we had a conversation. A lot of this is in the video and in the book, and we really discussed how. Or at least what I think, or what I've, my experience, the way to handle police. And it's definitely not by acting out. I'm not saying you take what they're dishing out. You know what I'm saying? You got to stand up for who you are. But if you do it within the confines of the Yamato Code, the results speak for themselves. You know what I mean? You got to read the book to get the rest of that. But I think, again, not getting off too much off topic. The situation for black people in Japan is different. There's nobody getting killed by cops. You don't get beat up by cops.
Yeah, it's not.
And then on the fact, like I said, the education level, the socioeconomic thing, it's just totally different. So, and the third thing, and maybe I didn't write it like this in the book. Because most people are working directly or indirectly for a Japanese company, who, yes, Japan got defeated by white supremacy, if you just want to just say it. So they're under the umbrella of that. But Japanese are Japanese. They ain't no different than they are. I had a teacher tell me from the Edo era to now, as far as the thinking process. So with that in mind, there's really very few extra, what was Tariqnishi call them? Biscuits, butter biscuits. Yeah. There's very few butter biscuits to be gained by cooning or caping for the system of racism, white supremacy. A lot of the black people who do it, they just do it because it's a habit, as far as I can see, but they don't get anything. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't get anything intangibly from this, it's easy to be steered away from it. Yeah. It's only when you're getting this thing, oh yeah, I'm getting this. What do you have for me?
Right.
You ain't got nothing for me but some babble, some prison talk or whatever they say. Some old man talk. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But in Japan, it doesn't fly. You know what I'm saying? So putting all those factors together, to me, it just seems natural that at some point black people would be like, hey, we need to align for it. And I'm not talking about holding hands and singing Kumbaya. I'm talking about just, you got a business? Let me see what you're doing. And even if it's only for me to be like, well, what can I do in your business that'll benefit me? You know what I'm saying? Even if it's only that. It seemed like at some point it would come to people's minds. But I'm not seeing that when I go out on the landscape and I talk to people. It's just everybody... And it seems like to me, and I'm just gonna say, keep it 100. They're so. I thought it was they want to be Japanese, and I think that's true. But a lot of black people come to Japan to get away from their blackness. Yeah. What do you think about that? I got it. I'll be right back.
Yeah. You gonna drop it on it? Yeah. I mean. Everybody comes over here to get away from something, right? So, really, a lot of people come over here to escape economic, whatever you have economically going on in your country. But black people specifically, I mean, you get treated so differently over here. You get treated like a regular person, And when I mean regular, it doesn't mean that you get treated like a Japanese person, but you just get treated like any other foreigner would get treated. So you're not getting persecuted for being black. You want to be black, and you try to do that in, as long as I know, the States. You try to do that in the States, you get persecuted for it. You can't be that black. I mean, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get a good job acting like that. You're not going to have a whole lot of benefits coming from acting that black. But over here, it really is this all the same to them. They're like, well, as long as we're in control, you can act as black as you want. It doesn't really matter. So in that aspect, I get it. And the other aspect of you're escaping your blackness, I mean, you know, it's the land of coons, man. I mean, like, coons are always escaping something. And this place accepts anybody. So if you're a coon, man, you're welcome to it. You can come over here, you can be anything. As long as you're not Japanese, they're gonna treat you the same as anybody else. So it's not even just the black thing. You can literally just be a fool out here. You really have to be a real asshole to get kicked out of Japan.
You know, outside of breaking the law or something. Outside of breaking the law, or You know, because you become entertainment.
Yeah.
You become entertaining to them. It's comedy relief.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why black people come here. There's a lot of reasons anybody comes here, but you're definitely escaping, and you just get accepted for who you are over here, to an extent. They're just like, all right, if that's what you want to do, like, go ahead.
And it works both ways. So a lot of black people don't realize. I've heard black people, or people don't believe me when I tell them, I just start talking about racism, white supremacy to the kids. I just don't do it in an angry way. I do it as a matter of fact way. Like, everybody knows this except you. Mm-hmm. And when I do that, they're like, because Japanese people understand discrimination. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So when you just say white people, you know, that's one thing, because their whole system is based on discrimination. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But discrimination doesn't always have to be negative. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, discriminating. You need to be discriminating. This person is that, and this person is this. You know what I'm saying? When you were gonna get married, is anybody okay? Anybody's okay, as long as you got a vagina, or as long as you got a penis. No, it doesn't work like that. You're looking for some specifics. Mm-hmm. You want a certain financial level, a personality. You know what I'm saying? Is it okay if this guy just beats you, or if this woman cheats on you? No, it's not okay. So all of that is discriminating. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Like, you know, so don't everybody some of these words you hear and it just put you in one kind of mindset.
Yeah, I'm discriminating.
You need to discriminate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm all for discrimination. I ain't trying to be around. I ain't trying to be no gaijin. If you can't discriminate the difference between when you're using discriminating in one way and not the other, I shouldn't be around you neither. Like I understand that. You know what I'm saying? I'm all for divisiveness. People are like, oh, you're divisive. I'm like, what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? You're trying to meld everything together. Like, can you imagine mixing breakfast, lunch, and dinner into one bowl and just eating it? Like, it's got to be split up and taken piecemeal. You know what I'm saying? Japan exists because of their discrimination. White supremacy, whether you respect power or you don't, is powerful because of discrimination. Black people stay black because of discrimination. Don't take the gun and then say it's bad because a serial killer uses it or a murderer uses it, and say it's good when a person who's defending their family uses it. Don't call the gun. Yeah, don't call the gun anything. It's just gun. The word is gun. It sounds dangerous though. I get that. Discrimination has a bad sound to it. I get that. But don't take it any farther than that. We're adults here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on.
And in the book, I talk about this concept of being otherized and the gaijin thing. And I make a case for a third level, which I loosely say gaikokujin. You don't have to be in Japan, at least in my opinion. Well, you're going to be otherized to a certain degree. You can't get away from certain things. But to me, gaijin get treated like non-human people. Mm-hmm. You know, if you really start listening to what Japanese people, how they talk when you don't know they're listening, or just what's going on behind the scenes, and then because then you can see how how their actions are manifested from their thoughts.
That's a little deep, but you're basically saying, because when you say they're being treated non-humanly, it almost sounds like they're being treated inhumanely, like they get beat up and all that stuff. And it's like, no, they're just being looked at like
they're thought of.
Yeah, they're thought of or like the animals in a zoo. You're not hurting the animals, but they're out of. You're looking at them like through a glass door or whatever, you know.
Right.
I guess that the biggest pain is that you're being ignored.
Right, or not acknowledged.
Not acknowledged.
Yeah,
they're not hurting you or treating you like shit.
Yeah, good point.
You're just ignored. You're like, he's doing.
Or you're not taken seriously.
Yeah, you're definitely not taken seriously.
It might even be in your area of expertise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if somebody else, some Japanese person says, no, well, we don't really believe you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to say, from a Japanese side, there's a good side to that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really gotten around to even talking about that. I'm not even going to do it here. But there is a very good side to that for Japanese people, and for the challenge against white supremacy. Because the one thing I always say about Japan is they could flip this script tomorrow and be against America.
Yeah.
And in 10 years, you wouldn't even remember that they were all about English and all that. They could just sweep it away. Not even under the rug. Sweep it out into the abyss.
Yeah.
Where it didn't even exist anymore.
Right.
Because they have been able to keep the fabric of their culture intact. And that's why that one teacher told me when he said it, he was like, he's like, man, I don't know what I was saying to him. He was like, no, Japanese people haven't changed. This is a Japanese man speaking English. He didn't even try to speak English. And he was like, hey, Japanese people haven't changed. We're the same as we were in the Edo era. And he was a Yayoi. We're the same. As long as we've been Japanese, we've been the same. And everything I've seen since he said that bears witness to that. You know what I'm saying? For good and for not so good. You know, it goes both ways, but it's just a truth. And once I understand that truth, like I said, everything that I see, I can see that it all, you know, corresponds to that. And you don't have to walk in front of me. Oh, I thought you were trying to. Oh. All right. So as far as black people being on code here, first of all, what do you think that would look like?
Being on code here?
Yeah, if black people were on code. If let's just say, not even the black people here, you know. Just say if somebody would, if you heard, man, you black people in Japan are on code. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What would that look like?
Yeah, it would look like it's funny. It's easy to describe hell and things falling down, but to describe something of a higher level, it's almost hard to imagine. I just
it's Wakanda.
I see it being attacked. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see it lasting. You know, I mean, like, nowhere. Where do we go? We can really be on code. We can be on code on small numbers though. And truthfully, until white supremacy is eliminated, I just see it kind of, you know, better than in another place. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, but all right. I guess maybe what I'm trying to say is, though, based on the factors that I laid down before, the lack of violence, et cetera, I think that, like, again, and I heard you saying it when I left, black people are not persecuted in the same way. So you can be black. You can talk about black stuff, even in schools. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, a lot of black people are surprised when I said this, I said that. You know, I don't say it angrily. I say it as a matter of historical fact. You know, Jim Crow, apartheid, these kinds of things. I'm just being general right now. And I can just talk about it from my perspective without me worrying about losing my job. I guess that's the best way for me to put it. And more times than not, Japanese people really appreciate that because they say, we never hear this.
Right.
Especially when you bring receipts. That's the main thing. You gotta have receipts. You can't just start saying it from your opinion.
Right.
You start talking about 1954, this happened, and you know, Google it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then that's when they're like, oh.
Yeah, they definitely, they got mad respect for that. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can do that here, no matter what any position that I've been in. I've said this in college, at college campuses, high school classrooms. I even have this conversation with preschools I've worked at. You know what I'm saying? Just like really just blowing their mind. They're like, you know what I'm saying? And I think if black people were on code with each other, and I'm not talking about again singing Kumbaya. I'm talking about the way that I grew up. Partially just when you see each other. I see you, I don't know you, but I know you black. That's enough. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Right. Solidarity, and even to the point where, and I've done this and I've seen how it works. I'll see a black person, and I'm with a group of Japanese people, and I'll excuse me, I'll be right back. And then they'll be like, well, and they'll see me, because Japanese people, oh yeah, I forgot to say this. Japanese people are very groupish, dantai-teki, like, you might, if you're from the outside, you might see 100 Japanese people all together in a room. But once you get inside the room, you'll start to notice, it might be all 100 people together, it depends. It might be a big company. But it also might be, you know, a bunch of groups of 3 and 4 people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those 3 and 4 people don't talk to anyone out, the other people, but they all abide by a code where they respect each other's space. And they're very conscious of not inconveniencing anyone else. You know what I'm saying? That's a big part of the code here. That goes back to them living in houses on top of each other with paper doors and very thin walls. So they're always very conscious of not bothering each other. You know what I'm saying? So go back to the situation when I'm with a group, especially when I was working in schools. And we come to some sort of conference, and there might be another black person from another school, and I'll excuse myself, you know. But I used to always after I saw the effect that it had, I would always make sure that they would notice this, and I'm like, excuse me, especially if it was someone that I knew, right? That especially Odessa, the real fine chick. I want y'all to see this because this chick is real fine. But and excuse me for a minute, and I would go and talk to them, and they could clearly see that we had a camaraderie. Like, yo, what's up? You know, black people, we got all kind of ritualistic handshakes and hugs. And then when we come back, then the Japanese people want to do that with me too. And I'm like, no. I don't do that with you. You know what I'm saying? I do that with my brother or sister.
Okay.
Just the effect of that, when they would look at that, they're like, what's going on here?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, if we, on top of that, we're just had allegiance where, like...
So it's like a training ground then.
In the end of the day, whenever you're on code, it's a training.
I mean, like, it's a place where we're allowed to train without being harmed.
Allowed to train? What do you mean train? Like
learn how to get on code without being punished for just being black.
Yeah, you're allowed to express.
So it's a good place to be trained. I ain't gonna lie, I love it. I love black people to come together. I do not think Japan is a place where black people should come en masse and really try to be on code. It's not gonna happen. It's either white supremacy or no white supremacy, so don't get your hopes up. Yeah. They do follow white people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And if you get too on code, they will make sure you're not on code.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that. He's coming with reality.
You know, so,
I'm coming with idealistic. With some idealistic shit. And all I'm talking about right now is the idea of that.
But
the idea
highest
of
probability is here though.
Right. If that happened, I mean, just the point where you establish something, and we just paid attention, not even putting your money and all that stuff into it. Just like, he's throwing an event, I'm gonna go to it.
It's true.
It would change so much over here, because whether you know it or not, black people always lead everything. Yeah, everybody just copies black people.
Yeah.
Whether you know it or not. And I always point that out to Japanese people, any kind of trend in America. I'm like, yeah, black people made that up. And then I bring the receipts. And they're like, really? I never noticed that. Yeah, hip hop, rock, you know, anything that's going on, all these slangs that you know, black people made all that stuff up. You know, and they're like, really?
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? And then they don't even know about all these.
Yeah, they're learning too. They're learning too.
Right.
Because they're a minority in the world of Asian people, so they definitely link with us on that way of thinking. They're like, oh yeah, like shit, you know.
When you find a Japanese person that has a mind to do that, there's a lot. I'm not saying everybody's like that.
But Japanese have a pride in their style. They're like, no, their style is Japanese. They're like, that's our style. It's not no Asian shit. It's Japanese shit. It ain't nothing to do with no Asians. It's like, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. You know, so yeah, I feel that. I get the.
Again, this is idealism. This is, I mean, this is just really just to think about it. Not, I'm promoting it. Here's the plan. I'm just saying, to me, it's strange that black people just don't naturally start to. Well, actually, it's not strange because just knowing what we know. Yeah. Okay, and that's the last thing. That's the last thing I want to get on. So, based on that, we have just established what code means. What it could possibly, or at least one side of what it could be if black people were on code in Japan. Now let's talk about the state, the present state, and then this might be Sterlyn's rant, but
it might be. What real nigga wants to live in Japan? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real.
Off riff.
Yeah, like not come here and visit and have a good time, but literally like just live here the rest of your life.
Like, what in Japan does a real brother, a real nigga see and be like, I'm gonna stay here?
Yeah. So I'm not see, because it's like, okay, well, you're saying you're not a real nigga. I'm just saying that if I didn't have an affinity for Japan, there's no reason for me to really stay here. You know what I'm saying? I am escaping all the dumb shit. I'm just an escapee. And I don't see it getting better. If the States got better, if black people were doing what they're supposed to be doing in the States, it'd be a hard choice to make. I might have to go back. You know what I'm saying? Because when I meet white people who really like the States, they love Japan just as much as I love Japan, but they end up going back. They're like, well, I mean,
because it's there,
my community's over there. You know what I'm
my
saying?
people are there.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking at the States like, convince me to come back. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be out here like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that they treat me like this. I'm glad I'm away from everything. But I definitely ain't trying to be up in this place, man.
Yeah, I miss black people. I miss so much. There's so much I miss. Yeah. And I just had this conversation with a student of mine, accountant, the other day. And I was like, yeah, if it wasn't for all that, I mean, and when I started talking to her, I was like, if I lived in America, you know how many guns I would have?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, just by itself, I would have a gun. Like right now, I'll reach right in here and I have a gun.
Yeah.
I would have a gun everywhere.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, that just that by itself, without me going any further, is why I live in Japan.
Yeah.
You know, and
it keeps you from doing. It's like rehabilitation.
You know, right now, if I go outside to throw out my trash, and this is not necessarily good, it's the extreme side, I would just walk out my door,
Yeah.
And if you jump me, you would definitely get me.
Yeah, it'd be
because I ain't ready at all. You know what I'm saying? But let me go to the States, and I'm walking outside. It's a whole different story. I'm looking out the window.
Yeah.
I'm checking. I might, especially if it's in my house. I'm packed. I mean, maybe not even that extreme. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely on alert. You can't just walk up and sneak up on me.
Yeah.
But you get in Japan, hey, where'd you come from?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
in
America,
old man and shit.
In America, if you walk up on me and I don't move, I'm probably setting you up. I see you. Just because I know what it is.
There's a respect I have for that. I wish it wasn't like that, but there's a respect I have for, like, I'm only cool because Japanese will start getting the wrong idea. They're like, see, that's why you like Japan. And I'm like, no. Because I'm not you is why I like Japan. If I was Japanese, I'd be in the States right now.
Yeah.
Because I like the States. I just don't want to be a black man in the States. If I was Japanese in the States,
yeah, you're not a black man in the States,
you know
And I told that lady, I was like, in America, you are more protected than I am.
Yeah, you walking around Japanese, ain't no cops shooting no Japanese person.
And in fact, they're gonna protect you.
Yeah,
they're gonna protect you. They're gonna see you as financial investment, or even if it's not that conscious.
Right.
They're superior. There's no mandate to be on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas they're glaring at me. I went back for a book fair. And these cops, they're just glaring at me. I guess I just didn't look like I was beat down enough. You know what I mean? I've been away from America, and I'm just a little bit too free.
He's not beat down enough.
Yeah, you're gonna, who the free nigga right there with the long hair? You know what I'm saying? And she was really, really shocked when I was really breaking this down to her. I was like, no, that doesn't pertain to you. Like, she was like, no, but I don't know the language. Okay, all of that is true. Yeah. But I was like, but as far as fearing for your life, there's places, but you're not gonna be in any of those places.
Right. I'd be in fucking Finland.